Hello and welcome to another episode of Raw Chatter. I am your host speaking, Vicky Midwood, integrative health and nutritional expert. All things human health optimizing is my bag. And I have got somebody who is very much on the same page as me in terms of how we look at the body and health as a whole. Lila and I met online and we clicked immediately. I'm fascinated by what she does. Clinical herbalism, and also she is an Ayurveda practitioner. So Lila is going to explain to you what those things actually mean, but more importantly, how she got into doing what she actually does. Lila, thank you so much for being a guest. I can't wait for this conversation. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Where should I start?
So start with how you got into herbs and Ayurveda and all that good stuff.
All right. And it all goes back to when I was a wee baby. I was birthed at home. My mom had midwives, and we grew up never seeing doctors. That was not on my radar. Fast forward, I grew up dealing with depression, anxiety, and weight challenges. And I always felt like just off. And, we tried lots of natural things to fix it. And, I never got to where I wanted to be. And I always thought it was the weight. And fast forward to college, now I'm in my career. I still have this just like internal dread and misery about me. I wasn't a very pleasant woman.
Just let's go back to your childhood, because I think it's important for people to listen and hear what you had to say. You felt all the way through that something was a bit off. And I think if parents are listening or grandparents are listening, then it's important to know, because I think we have this idea that depression and that kind of stuff happens to only adults, but it's not true, is it? So how did it come out for you? I mean, what sort of things were you noticing?
Well, that's such a good point. Like, we really don't talk about this around children, right? We think it's like teenagers and above, so that's interesting. So for me, I was a quote unquote like moody child. I was very moody. I was very sad. I was very emotional. I just remember I always had a pit in my stomach. Like my entire childhood, I look back and like I have a hard time digging and finding good memories. I was just always so scared and anxious.
Wow.
And that just carried through my entire life. And, it's, oh, she's moody, she's emotional.
And it became your identity, I'm guessing. People just accepted, well, this is just how Lila is, and, accepted it. Right.
And I'm in high school, and I start realizing, like, I don't want to hang out with my friends, I would make plans, and then I'd feel really anxious about it, and I'd want to bail, or I would just, like, cry and cry and cry, and it was unexplained, and I didn't know why. And we didn't even use the words anxiety and depression. Like, I didn't actually know those were things till like my adulthood years. My parents were not pro therapy, and they're not hippies. Like, they were normal members of society, just strong opinions. So like we never really talked about it. It was just kind of like the women in the family have depression, and that's normal.
Right. And this is so important, because if it is normalized and you just kind of take it on, well, this is just how I am. But just knowing that all the way through, you had that sense of just that knot in your stomach all of the time. So we fast forwarded now to you being a grown up.
Yeah. Or I could cry thinking about the knot in my stomach as a child. It was just so sad. But now I'm an adult, and I am in my career, and I want money and bigger job titles and more responsibility, and I want to be in charge. And so I start everywhere I go. I like climb the ladder.
Nice.
I ran a body shop in college. I came out and worked for all these solar companies. And eventually, like, I'm in my career, and I keep thinking there's these milestones I need to get to. And then I find happiness, right? Like losing the weight, or getting the car, or getting the house, or, hitting that 6-figure salary, whatever it was. Like, I kept hitting these milestones, and I kept feeling emptier and emptier and emptier. And I was just like, there was just this like part of me that I was miserable. Right. Even though I had all the things I thought were supposed to make me happy.
And this is such an important thing for you to talk about, because he's been honest about it, because we believe, don't we? Society tells us, school primes us, university, get the big jobs, get the top position, get a bigger salary, have the car, have the status, da 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 da. And the reality is, yeah, okay, you get those things, and
yes, yeah,
right? And so you were very much feeling that, and
right. And there was like something gnawing at me. Like I knew, and I would tell the CEO of the company, I'm like, I'm not going to be doing this forever. Like I know there's something else out there for me. I don't know what it is yet, but like I'm not here forever.
right.
Which she probably didn't like to hear. But like I knew there was something greater for me. And I finally took off the weight, and I did it through some pretty extreme measures and developed an eating disorder. I think we've talked about that.
Yeah.
And I hit the end of that weight loss journey, and I'm like, okay, it wasn't the weight, because now I don't have a period, and my moods and emotions are even more out of control, and I'm so depressed and so anxious, and like I just had this like gnawing feeling, like I know it's not supposed to be this way. Like I knew, but I didn't know.
Let's just go back to the eating disorder, because you managed that eating disorder while you were still climbing the ladder and being successful.
Oh yeah. Yep. That was like peak of my career.
Right. And this is part of the, I think, is it, tell me if I'm incorrect, but this striving to be better, to prove to, is it to yourself or is it just to other people? You don't really know. That if you can do this stuff and you can lose the weight and do it in a way that makes you feel a bit superior to other people, because for people listening, well, what is she talking about? We're talking about anorexia, and it is extreme, and it can be all consuming, but how we kind of do one thing is often how we do everything. Isn't it? And so I think it's important for you to kind of let people know that just the very fact that you got over that is a hell of a thing, but speaks to the tenacity of you as a person.
Yeah. There was anorexia. There was a lot of bulimia, and that I think that was harder to give up than you know.
Yes.
You're right. You kind of do feel superior. You're like, oh, I didn't eat my calories because they went back up the other end, and and from a very young age, for some reason, I made the connection that my self-worth was tied to my body image. I mean, I could point to the people in my life and the moments in my childhood that helped form that illusion for me. But yeah, you don't know what you don't know at that time.
Yeah. And that, again, that's a really important point, that you can actually look at certain people or conversations, or even just the one specific sentence that was said that you heard, and suddenly that seed is planted. And it can be so simple. And of course, the person saying it has no clue the effects that it's going to have on you. But I think that's so important, that we can just never know what it is with an eating disorder that sets it off. But once you're in it, it's a challenge to get out of it. And as you said, I think you're right. I think bulimia is so challenging, because it's almost like it's the throwing up part of it that is more addictive. People think it's the eating part, don't they? And it's the throwing up part that's the addictive part, which is literally the same as being addicted to cocaine, in the studies that they've done. So the fact that you're still climbing the ladder and you managed to overcome successfully those eating disorders and then carry on.
Well, I overcame the eating disorder kind of after the ladder. So at this point, I'm really miserable, and I'm like, oh, I need to move. I need a new house. And that wasn't it. I got my dream house with chickens and, orchards, and it was great. And I'm like, I'm miserable. I'm still miserable, guys. And so a couple of things started coming in my pathway. One was magic mushrooms.
Right.
I specifically remember going on a mushroom trip, and for like the first time in my life, my phone was away from me, and I like felt this disconnect from my job, and like it wasn't weighing on me. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know I could feel like this. I didn't know I could like not have all the demands of the world on me for a minute. It was a very high stress, high pressure job. Yeah. And then the second thing that happened was my sister convinced me to talk to a medium. And that was like so not in my purview. I don't do that. That's creepy. And I talked to her, and she's like, all right, you're going to leave your job. Don't leave it yet. Leave it, at this point. Something I want you to explore. I want you to take an herb class because like foods or plants, something's coming up for me. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to teach people how to cook. I'm a really good cook. Like, that's it. And she's like, I don't think that's it. But, and then she's like, the word Ayurveda keeps coming up for me. And I'm like, I don't even know what Ayurveda is.
Wow.
And so she's like, planting all these seeds. And I was like, I don't know what to do with this information. She's like, it'll all make sense eventually. And she's like, I don't usually give out these details, but like for you, just take this and go. And the experience, to be honest, it creeped me out. I'm like,
I'll bet. Yeah.
I did. I'm like, I'm not, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And so I Google Ayurveda and I'm like, creepy, ancient
Weird
medicine with weird, toxic herbs. And I'm like, stay away from me. It's witchy. And so I spend the next year kind of blowing up my life. I leave my partner of 10 years. I sell the dream house. I run around with a shirtless guy.
As you do.
And traveling. And I start exiting from my job. I had a mental breakdown. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And so it took a year for me to extricate myself from my position and pass everything off to someone else.
Wow.
And so after that, and I was free, I'm like, what do I need to figure out right now? And the biggest thing was like, I want to know how to eat. I have an interest in nutrition, but like I've done all this work and I still don't understand like how to nourish my body properly and what the one true way to eat is. And so I enroll in some functional nutrition courses, and then I sign up for an herb class. And that first night I went to this herb class, and I don't even remember how I picked it, honestly.
Right.
My mind was like blown up and like my heart was expanded. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm home.
Wow.
And then I start realizing this teacher teaches herbalism from a planetary perspective. And he's so big on the Ayurveda. And I'm like, shit, it found me.
Did you immediately think of the medium or not straight away?
Oh, 100%. Because I was avoiding it like the plague. Like if it came into my purview at all, like I would look the other way.
Right.
And so then I was like, I was committed to this class, and which I liked. I immediately liked. That was the day I found my mentor, and I've been with him ever since, continuing my education. And yeah, I was like, shit.
What's going on? This woo-woo weirdness, this creepiness is actually coming to fruition.
And it's so funny because like I immediately gravitated towards, and he's an Ayurvedic doctor, and he's very well seasoned in Ayurveda. That is his specialty. Yeah. And I start noticing like I immediately gravitate towards the Ayurvedic herbs and the Ayurvedic concepts and yoga, and like I could just there was a heart connection. Yeah. And so as I continued my studies, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I'm so glad this found me, because like now I feel more complete than I ever have. And I never set out to be a clinician and work with people one-on-one, but as I just kept going on the path and the things kept happening, this is where I ended up. Amazing. And I still look at it because I have such a fear for most of my life of medical things, of looking at lab work, of looking at my own health, of dealing with any of this stuff. And now I'm like in it, and it just goes to show like I am such a different person than I was before this journey started. So.
And this is where I love your story so much, because I think so many people can relate to even just the idea of a medium or tarot cards or any of that stuff. And then people are just like, oh, it's ridiculous. It's all, it's mumbo jumbo or creepy or voodoo-y or woo-woo-y or whatever word they use. And then you speak to them sometimes years later, sometimes only months later, and they go, well, actually... And it's just fascinating. But I think you came up with a comment there that's just so important, that people don't necessarily realize, especially when it comes to when you've had an eating disorder. There is so much confusion out there, and you just do not know how do you eat as a human. You just don't know what you're supposed to do, because you confused your own body's systems to such an extent that hunger cues and full up cues are a little bit like you're not really sure. And I found exactly the same thing. And so it's very interesting that you went down the road of functional nutrition as opposed to just a bog basic sports nutrition or whatever. And then the whole herbal thing. But what I wanted to know a little bit about, because you shared a little bit about you dabbled in mushrooms. And this is a topic that I think is really fascinating, but so are the herbs, because these are all natural plants, roots, whatever we utilize, all from nature. This is the exciting part about it, isn't it? So tell us what it is that really does light you up about herbalism, about mushrooms, and what you're consistently learning more about.
Oh, that's such a big question.
I know it is.
It all lights me up. I think there was like a point in my journey where I feel like my head was finally above water. And I did all these things, right? Like I changed my diet. I learned how to take care of my nervous system. I started incorporating herbs and plants and doing things like mushroom trips. And, I went to that place and it changed my life.
Right.
And when I looked around at everyone else in my life, and I mean like everyone, they were all drowning.
Yeah.
Like everyone is not feeling as good as they could or should. And so many people aren't living in their light. They're not able to put their best foot forward and do their work in this planet because they don't feel good, because there are physical, emotional, mental things that are keeping them in this space. And I realized that plants unlock that for you. And it doesn't matter if I'm working with somebody on their arthritis or their gout or their diabetes or their depression, like whatever it is, the path takes them somewhere better. And that's where like I really get lit up, is that you start feeling better in your body, you start interacting different with the world, your life is like completely different, and you're able to start being a more authentic version of yourself that can do the work in this world that you were meant to do. And that's my favorite part. Like it's not working on the diseases. That's fun and it interests me. It's like it's the path that I get to watch people go on as they do the work.
It's the transformation.
Yeah. And plants do that. Drugs don't do that. You're not going to, change your life from taking Klonopin.
Right, exactly. And this is and the thing about, you've been there, so you know what is possible. Because my guess is now that things like anxiety and depression are part of your past history. They're not a part of your today's world and future. And this is the beauty of it. So what do people normally, or not normally, but most frequently come to you to help them with?
That's a good question. If I like listed off the symptoms, it's an array of symptoms. Like I said, everything from anxiety to depression to diabetes, autoimmune conditions, digestive issues, a lot of fatigue, like a lot of chronic pain. I don't have a specialty in the symptom sense, but I really enjoy and find a lot of people that have like gone everywhere and tried everything and they're not getting help. Yeah. So it's like the complex chronic cases. I have a lot of migraine cases that find me. And the common thread I think I see between everyone is a lack of joy.
Right. Wow.
A lack of sweetness in life. And which, of course, if you're not feeling good and your energy is going to managing pain or discomfort in your body, you're not going to be able to find joy. So yeah, I work with humans, and the humans come with an array of symptoms. Nothing's too chronic or complex. And I think that herbs and Ayurveda are a beautiful complementary or core care modality for anyone, no matter what they're going through.
I think that's a beautiful way of describing it. You're right. They literally are like cousins, aren't they? I don't really see how you can do one without the other, because the overlap is just so huge. So for people who don't necessarily understand Ayurveda and what it is, and I know you can't go into all of the kind of the depths of it, but just kind of for a layman's sort of understanding, the kind of the general outline of how it kind of works for people.
Okay. So Ayurveda I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit. So
Go for it.
Ayurveda is the oldest, most continually practiced medical system in the face of the earth today. It comes from India. It's at least 5,000 years old, but we guess it's much older than that. That's just what we can prove with books and documentation. And the thing about Ayurveda is it is a fully fledged medical system. It is not only lifestyle medicine. It isn't spa treatments. It isn't hair oils. I think that's what's getting really popular, at least where I'm at. And Ayurveda is starting to get a name for itself, but it looks like it's like self-care products. And that's not true. It's great for preventing diseases. It's great for treating diseases. It does gynecology. It does surgery. It does mental health. And it is just, what's really cool about it is it covers everything.
Yes.
It looks at the whole body and not just like the diseases, but what it takes to live a good life. And it gives us a blueprint for understanding ourselves and how we can work with our physiology to live a good life and to play to our strengths and to make up for our weaknesses. And it's complete. It does everything.
And it lights you up as you're talking about it. I can just feel the energy and the excitement that it's, yes. And the beauty of it is, as you say, it's ancient and we understand, I think, so much more. It's just that we've forgotten because of the prevalence of marketing and social conditioning that if you have an ill, you get a pill. And it's that whole speed, give me, I want to just fix the symptoms and let me not even think about the root cause kind of mentality. And I do genuinely believe that's why we've got such an epidemic of an explosion, even if you like, of illnesses that are, of all types. Everything is increasing, isn't it? We've got Alzheimer's and diabetes in children now of school age, not to mention all of the different mental health issues like anxiety and depression, which I know we're talking about them more. Does that mean that it's more prevalent? I think it is, especially post-COVID. And this is where, as you said, Ayurveda is for everything. It's not just one thing. It's absolutely brilliant. So if people don't know about your work, you put some incredible stuff out on social media. So how do people find you? What's the best place for them to check out what you're talking about?
Before I answer that, I just want to comment. Ayurveda has seen the same diseases for 5,000 years that we're seeing now.
Right.
And they've gone through painstakingly persnickety practices to learn how to perfectly address them and not just like treat the disease, but like work with the individual, right? Because everything in Ayurveda is very individual based. It's not standardized medicine. Yeah. And I personally put my money in a system that's been doing it for 5,000 years versus one that's been doing it for
a few hundred. Yeah.
I think as you mentioned, the rate of disease is increasing. We are continually in epidemic after epidemic. Cardiovascular events are killing over 40% of the population in America, yet our medical spending increases, our drug technology increases, yet people are getting sicker and sicker. So just something to think on. Yeah. Where to find me? I'm active on Facebook and LinkedIn. I have a YouTube channel. I also have a podcast called Herbalism Uncensored, where we talk all natural healing, herbalism, Ayurveda in a very uncensored way. Yeah. And I have a website. Oh my gosh, what's my website?
We'll put all the links in, so don't worry about it. Yeah. But so you've got your website, you're on YouTube, you have your podcast, and you're active on social media. And the way that you talk about this stuff is just great because it's accessible to anybody. You talk about it in a way that you're just talking to the general person, and I think this is why it's so important. The more we can get people like yourself just talking about this stuff like it's just normal, like it's not weird and it's strange. In fact, the other stuff is the weird and strange stuff because the body doesn't recognize half of the synthetic garbage that GPs, etc., want us to utilize. And everything you're talking about is natural. And it's as you say, it's a whole person, individualized. It's not a one size fits all. My guess is that a lot of what you do as well with your clients is to help to reassure them. Is that true? That because I would imagine that there's a lot of fear around them doing something a bit different.
Most of the people that work with me are pretty open-minded.
Right.
But I think there's an educational piece of helping people see what's possible.
Right.
And you're right. Sometimes it does involve coaching them through doing some weird things and some uncomfortable things. I just did an intake with a new girl yesterday, and I didn't ask it very well, but I was like, how experimental are you? Because like the spectrum of herbs is like everything from like nettle to scorpion. So like, where do you want to hang out?
yeah. Well, what's your bag?
I'm pretty open. I'm like, okay, because so I have to really tailor things to the individual and their comfort level of where they're coming into natural healing concepts at, because it is everything from you're brewing a nice simple tea to things are getting really weird, and so gauging people and helping them through that, because it is so different, and the things we do are very different than we're used to. And it's funny you said they're the weird ones, because I forget that I'm the outlier sometimes. Like when I come up from the bubble, I'm like, wait, we all don't believe the same thing.
Yeah. But as you say, it seems so obvious, because as you say, it's been around for thousands of years, whereas allopathic conventional medicine has only been around for a few hundred. And so, which would you rather trust? And I'm with you all of the way, but you have to recognize, as I do, that people have been conditioned to see things a certain way. And I think it's a joy and a relief, actually, that they can go, oh, do you know what? This feels a lot different. And actually, it's not as stressful. Because you're not having to go into all of the side effects, and this might happen and that might happen. And if this does, da, 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 da. And you, with something like a natural herb or a tea, well, you can just stop drinking it. It's not going to be in your system for however many weeks before you can reduce dose and all of that malarkey. Exactly. So fantastic. I absolutely love what you do. And so, folks, if you haven't yet looked at the podcast or checked out social media, or even thought about just looking at an alternative, especially if you're not happy with the treatment that you're getting from your GP, then do check out what Lila has to offer. Now, I'm going to ask you this question because I ask it from every single guest, and I know it's a challenging one. What's the one thing that you would like the listener to walk away from this podcast episode with?
Okay. It's such a great question, but I'm like, there's so many different answers. Okay. It's start doing the work on yourself now, because we have normalized such a sharp decline in our elder ages. And I'm very much a believer that it doesn't have to be like that. We can age with grace, and the last 10, 20, 15 years of our life don't have to be spent in a painful, miserable state, but we have to start doing the work right now. It's taking the herbs, it's changing the diet, it's doing the healthy lifestyle. Everything you do now will pay off in the future and right now, because you will feel better and you will be able to be more present for the life that you want to live. And I think that is just if I could tell people to do one thing, it's start yesterday, start now, don't wait.
Brilliant. So you heard it here first. Do not put it off, folks. No waiting till Monday or after the holiday or after Christmas or whatever is the excuse. Do it now, because your future self will definitely thank you for it. Lila, thank you so much. Lila, thank you so much. Because my brain's just said it how it's spelled. I would like to say to all of the listeners, if you have found this episode helpful, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, give us a subscribe if you haven't already, so that you don't miss the next episode. And if you think this content is helpful to somebody that you know, tell them about it, pass them on, send the links. And I'm going to leave you with this, as I always do. We only have one life, as far as we know, and one body. So look after it, because it is looking after you. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.